Guys, my name is Tommy, and you have reached the Gallery Backyard Barbecue. Guys, I've done a pork shoulder, 12 pounds. I ran this bad boy on batteries. I did up some ribs. I threw a griddle on and did, I do believe, a nice steak. So look, on today's show, I will give you my thoughts, my review of the Masterbuilt Charcoal Portable Grill. Guys, quick reminder, 5/1, May 1st, 6 p.m. Eastern. Join me live on the channel here and over on Facebook for some barbecue talk, couple giveaways, and some summertime fun. We'll see you there. So look, I'm going to start this right off with a pitta for me. It's a tight squeeze in there when you load up your fire starters. I know you've done it. So you go to tilt your little chamber there and bang, the starter falls out. It took me about, I don't know, a few shots to get it. It was a real pitta for me. Oh, man. Oh, man. So then I made a phone call to Fire Cups and had him design these black mollies. They fit in there nice and snug. If it is a pitta for you, like it was a pitta for me, check down in the description. I got a link, and I also, it's Tommy10, get you 10% off. Check it out and cool your jets. Yeah. And now I am being told some black mollies may be included in the giveaway Sunday night, so definitely stay tuned. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how long does it take the pit to cool down after you cook something so you can load it back up? I'll answer that at the end of the show. But first, we will take a look at our front shelf there. You got 3 pegs that hold your assorted tools. You got a shelf that does not collapse. It is stable at 12 by 12. Going around to the other side, you got 2 nifty drink holders, one a tool holder, and also a shelf that is 8 by 12, and again, it is does not collapse, so just keep that in mind. Moving around to the front bottom, that is where your batteries are. 4 AA's get you 7.5 hours. That's your temp control gauge, and underneath is your fan that is going to regulate your heat inside the pit, just like the gravity fed. So moving around underneath the pit, you give that lever right there a pull back. You put your foot on that leg right there, and that is how you collapse the pit. You have a nice little lock right there. I usually use that when I cook to get a nice seal. And underneath the hood, you got your grate. Now look, those familiar with the Masterbuilt gravities will be familiar with what is going on under here. There's your heat assembly. And basically the heat assembly is a see-through heat assembly. I'm not sure why they didn't block off that one edge right there that leads over to the shelf, but they didn't. Now your oil is going to drip down there. It is a nicely sloped down. It does work very well. You'll see that in a second. And you do have a little cup there. I think what that's going to do is stop any grease blowback from igniting the oil and going out into the chamber. So I think that's what that does there. Underneath, you see the grease trap. Again, it works very well. There is your damper up top. I usually keep that half open, half closed. It doesn't close all the way. There is a screw there that blocks it. So for me, again, just like the 980, no big deal. I just keep it where it is and I go from there. Guys, this is a very simple design that, quite frankly, I'm surprised it took so long for somebody to come out with something. You got basically a grate there that's 11 by 18. You got a hopper that holds about 9 or 10 pieces of fuel. That's going to get you about 3.5 to 4 hours of burn time. If you don't have a plug, 4 AA batteries will give you about 7.5 hours of run time. And look, you could fit about 9, 10 burgers on this sucker, chicken, ribs, you name it, you could put it in. Other than that, stay tuned as I am going to bring you in live for a lot of closing thoughts. All right, guys, look, man, I wanted to keep that as brief as possible and just touch on some of the schematics on this pit. and why I feel that it is a 100% buy, man. If this is what you're looking for, I'm not really sure there's any grill on the market. Sure, you can get a Weber kettle and do that way and get the same results, man, but this pit is fun to operate. And I am gonna be moving this grill right here on my deck. This is gonna be my daily driver when the cameras are not rolling. I usually use a Weber Q1200. This is gonna replace that. And really, for me, it is simple, man. It takes about 9 pieces of charcoal to run this thing. You can run it on batteries if you'd like, but up on the deck, it'll be plugged in. So when I want a quick steak or a quick burger, obviously I'm not gonna come down in the shack. So usually what I do is I fire up my Weber Q. It is tank controlled, so it is gas. It is the only gasser on the property. And I just go that way. It is simple, it is quick. But now with this sucker, man, I can go from zero to throw the steaks on in under 10 minutes. Right, it's about 4 or 5 minutes to get the fuel running. You want to wait another 4 or 5 minutes to get a really good temperature. Then you throw the steaks on, and you're cooking, man. And you're cooking with charcoal. That's the key thing with me. So really, to do a full meal for me and the wife, again, man, 9 pieces of fuel. How could you beat that? You know, that burger cook that I did, man, that was basically the selling point for me of why the Weber Q is going to go bye-bye and this is going to go on the deck, is because those burgers were top-notch. You know, they had all the makings of a charcoal grill. And again, man, it was done easy peasy with this. You know, you take a Weber kettle and you're going to do a half a chimney or whatever. It's a little bit of a pitta. You're going to burn, you're going to waste more fuel, no doubt about it. It's bigger, it's clunkier, it's old school. I mean, look, it works great. Everybody needs to own a kettle. I definitely do. But again, for quick meals, it is gonna be this sucker. There is no doubt about it. You know, it's got all the makings of a gravity fed, although Masterbuilt will not call it a gravity fed, but it has all the same schematics with that fan, man. That fan is very, controls the flame, controls the temperature very well. I've had the pit up to 500 and I've had it as low as 200, 225, somewhere in that range. It is perfect for burgers, hot dogs, steaks. It'll work for stuff like a shoulder or ribs or really whatever else you want to cook on it. If I was an active camper, this sucker would be going with me 1, 2, 3, man. I mean, how do you beat it? I know a lot of people want to see a mod where you hook up a battery pack to it, blah, blah, blah. But for me, 4 AA's gets you 7.5 hours. That is good enough for me, man. There is no reason for me to do any type of mods with the wirings. I'll leave that up to somebody else. Because for about 50 cents a battery, man, for 7 hours of cook time, you cannot beat it. So one of the other questions people have had for me is how long after you cook on it does it take to cool down so you can transport it out of there? And for me, safely, it is about 10 minutes or so. Now look, you could probably get that down if you take the hopper out, which obviously you're gonna do, then take the griddle out very carefully. You can even remove the heat assembly, get that all in the elements, and you're probably cooled down in under 10 minutes. But one thing for sure, and one thing to keep in mind, is by the time you're done eating, that sucker's ready to be packed and taken away. It is a little bit of pitta for me to collapse the grill. I'm not going to do it here because I got to bend down. And look, I'm getting a little older, but for a young chippy man, just to bend down and collapse it is probably 1, 2, 3. But basically, it has been just sitting in my shack, so I haven't had to do it too much, but I have done it a few times. And again, getting down, it's just a pitta. As far as cleanup, that is a breeze. I just removed the heat assembly and also the grate. I don't know if it's recommended or not recommended by Masterbuilt, but I bring it right in the house. My wife has put the grate in the dishwasher. Again, I don't know if that's recommended or not recommended, but it works well for me. The one thing I do wish, there's an insert that sits inside the the grease drips down and goes into the grease catcher, which works very well. I do wish that came out, but there is a wire that connects it that probably helps and runs the fan or whatever. If that came out, you can disassemble the whole pit and bring it in the house and clean it, or take it on the lawn and spray it down. That would be a big plus for me. Other than that, man, I really don't see too many cons with this pit. I mean, it does everything that you would think it does with pretty precise temperature control. Well, now look, one thing I'd like to say is you can't get by with any less. If you think you're going to do burgers and throw 3 or 4 or 5 pieces in there, you're mistaken. It is not going to get up to temperature. So you're basically going to have to just about fill the hopper on just about every cook. But hey man, 9 pieces of fuel, no big deal for me. And look man, that is it. That is my review. That is my thoughts on this Masterbuilt Portable Charcoal Grill. Leave me a comment down below if you want me to answer any other questions down there. I certainly will. Other than that, this thing is a 100% buy if you're in the market for a portable grill. I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for listening. I'm going to cut this down to try to keep it short. Other than that, we will see you soon.